If you're looking to sample a new podcast, the Working Experience podcast has been in the top of the charts for the business category on iTunes for the past 2 years.
The Working Experience has been ranked in top 10 podcasts for careers in business in 10 countries for the last 3 years, China and India among them.
John and Matt interview thought leaders, global workers, authors, celebs to help their listeners better navigate the world of work.
They also have a weekly audio masterclass. Find the Working Experience wherever you get your podcasts.
When I first started sewing, which was just the October before the pandemic hit, I was sewing things like baby quilts and items for our camping trip. I made, nylon utility bags to put our laundry in and our gear and things like that. And tent runners for the floor so the floor wasn't so cold. So I got on YouTube. A friend of mine said, I hear that nurses need these because they're slathering their masks with hand sanitizer between shifts.
Yeah.
I thought, oh God, that's disgusting. Like, why would you want, And so I had some fabric and I pulled it out, and this was the very first one. So at that point, I didn't have any elastic. I had to make all the ties and that sort of thing. And I figured, okay, well, this covers your face. It's going to give you some protection. So this is what I first started with.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 207. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. How's it going?
It's going.
I say we kick off this episode with a really big announcement.
Let's do it.
How about that? So, next week on the show, we've got a really fun interview.
Yes.
We were fortunate enough to sit down with people send us suggestions all the time. I should back up and say this.
Yes.
And this is a suggestion we've been getting for a long time.
Yes.
But it's not always easy to snag some of these suggestions, right? Like, we're not going to get Michelle Obama on the podcast.
No.
I mean, we would love to have her, but it's not going to be a thing. And so, but...
That's not a political statement, by the way.
No,
so save your letters. Save your notes.
She's just doesn't have time for peons like us.
Yeah.
But someone who took pity on us and decided to join us on the show. Next week, we will sit down for an in-depth conversation with Jersey Shore's own Snooki to talk about her love of Peloton.
Pretty surreal, folks.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And she posts pictures from her Peloton all the time. Mm-hmm. And we've always seen her on the bike, but apparently she also has a tread.
Yes.
And she talks about that.
Yes.
And just how she found Peloton.
You're going to have an exclusive. You get to find out who her favorite instructors are.
And you will also get to find out what other member of the Jersey Shore has a Peloton. So
right here.
That's what you get to look forward to next week. So anyway, very excited about that.
We should be.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So I guess what do you have in store for people this week?
We have Dr. Jenn, a segment with Dr. Jenn this week. We also have a nutrition segment this week. We're going to announce the Tonal winner officially.
Yes.
There's tons of news about Peloton, news for the instructors. It's all over the place.
We'll deal with some of the fallout from the recall announcement.
We will. We're going to hit the stock market a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us while you're there. Be sure and leave a review so people that come along after you know that we're worth their time. That's always helpful. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout while you're there. Like the page, join the group. You can check us out on YouTube. While you're there, also subscribe there so you get notifications. You can watch these shows in HD right there on your computer or TV or TV app. You'll definitely want to do that. I mean, I think you want to do that every week, but you really want to do it next week when we talk to Snooki.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of fun to
actually see them.
Yeah. I know it was pretty surreal when she showed up.
Yeah, I did. I kind of left the Zoom screen minimized, so I didn't look at her.
Didn't want to get distracted. You
just-
didn't want to stare at her.
I just didn't want to. Yeah, it'd be weirded out. Like it's easier if I'm just hearing her.
Yeah.
So like I actually had it minimized. So, but yeah. So you can do that over at youtube.com/theclipout, and of course you can get our weekly newsletter mailed to you with all the links and pictures and whatnot if you sign up for our newsletter at theclipout.com. So let's dig in, shall we?
Sure. We shall.
Run, lift, and live with John Mills.
So joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is John Mills. Hey, John, how's it going?
How's it going?
It's very excited.
Good.
Hey, you are
That's right.
pumped. You're pumped.
Grandpa Shark. Good stuff happening today.
I feel like we need to charge Pink Fong for all the Baby Shark references we've been making. They owe us some money.
Or do we owe
Go
them?
after them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't sing
Maybe
the,
that.
We
That's
didn't
true.
sing the song.
That's
so
true.
we don't owe them any money.
That's
Although I
true.
think technically the song's in the public domain. So
it?
I think so. It's it's an old song. It's been around for a long time. If you really want to know, there's a wonderful podcast called Decoder Ring that does a deep dive on the history
Why are you holding your head?
of the Baby Shark song. This is what she does when I go off on these weird
Oh,
pop
she
culture
does.
tangents.
I mean, most of the
that's
time I love
funny.
your pop culture reference, but that one, wow. I don't.
That's some deep stuff.
It was real deep.
Tom has deep stuff in there.
Yeah, he does.
It's actually pretty interesting to learn about where Baby Shark came from. It's been around for a while.
Okay.
Well, much longer than you think. So, but anyway, enough of that. People don't come here for the Baby Shark.
They don't.
I mean, they stay for the Baby Shark, but they come for the Peloton.
They come for the grandpa shark,
Yeah.
not the baby shark.
That's right.
So I guess let's dig in talking about stock. The stock for Peloton, unsurprisingly, has had some wild swings in the past week.
Yeah. What do you think of that? I mean, right now we're at like just around 90, or at least we closed right about 90. It's been hovering. It's been a little up. It's
Yeah.
been a little down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, we know about the effects of the announcement of the recall, and we saw the how it dropped relative to that. But since then, and since the earnings call, and then the explanation with regards to, why they did what they did, and then what their future forecast was going to be, their outlook, and how well that went, I've kind of been positive on Peloton since then. Even what we see now, like
Yeah.
I know it was down a little under 2% today, but it's been like consistent, right around 90. While all this other like fire is going on, this is like the movie when something explodes and the guy's just kind of walking slow away. Like that's how I see this, because right now we got fears of inflation, and housing prices are up, and the Fed is just out there saying we're about to raise interest rates.
We're out of gas.
We have no gas on the East Coast.
That's right. We got hackers attacking Colonial Pipeline, and people sitting in lines.
Dogs
it's
and
craziness
cats
happening.
living together.
It's
Right.
craziness.
Tell them about the Twinkie.
What?
That's a Ghostbusters.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my
Crystal's
God.
mystified.
I'm
John
so
gets
mystified. So mystified. I'm so glad you caught it, John. You would have been so disappointed.
I would have been.
I
was like,
love Ghostbusters, so yeah, that one I would have known. But yeah, you got all this stuff happening. It's just craziness, and it's at the same time they're just kind of stable.
yeah.
Okay,
Now,
so
if you look at the rest of the market, like NASDAQ's down, the S&P 500 is down, like everybody's down. NASDAQ in total was down, 2.7% today?
well, I feel like none of these analysts are talking about that. They're just like, boo, Peloton, we're all gonna die. It's awful. Boo.
That's right.
And I'm
They're
just
all Chicken Little on us.
There's like one analyst I've seen out there that's like, keep it. It'll be okay. And everybody else is like, we're all going to die.
Because that's the easy headline, right?
It is
like
the
that's
easy
the easy
headline.
headline.
But I've been all positive. You know who scares me?
Who?
Not Peloton.
Nautilus?
Nautilus.
Why do they
my
scare
goodness.
you?
They scare me to death. I cover my eyes. I mean, because I'm trying to watch their chart. I'm like on a roller coaster. I'm like, it's crazy watching Nautilus. I mean, right? So then, they're up, and then they drop 3%, and then And then you hear that their numbers are great, and they go up 10%, and then after market, and then by the next morning, market hadn't even opened yet, they drop 12%, and then during the day they go up 3%. Then today they're down 7%. Like, I don't know what in the world is going on with Nautilus.
But here's Peloton.
And Peloton. Well, we know that Icon is working with B of A, and they're talking about going public.
Yeah.
And then we know that Beachbody is working with Minx and some FRX, some investment company.
Yeah, and that's going to be a SPAC. And then there's another SPAC, I think, that's happening too. I don't remember what company it was. It's like they're everywhere all of a sudden.
And then the Beachbody thing, they had like a conference call earlier today, and they were talking about their plans, and they got all these big plans of going global with it, and they're talking about all these countries and all. When I hear that stuff in the Icon, I think that would impact Nautilus. But Peloton, for example, Nautilus was on their call this week was saying, we made $200 million in revenue for the quarter, and the first time in 35 years, our whole 35-year history, that's the first time we ever broke 200 million.
Whoa.
Peloton,
that's Wednesday.
Did 1.2 billion in the quarter.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about, we got 250,000 members. Peloton has 5.4 million.
Wow.
I see all these SPACs and all these, that will impact Nautilus, and that's probably why you see all this craziness. But Peloton, I think that's why I think it's a positive we see them just right around 90, just doing this while all these explosions are going off. And Jean-Claude, what's his name? Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's doing all this karate stuff. And, you know what I mean?
I do.
But Peloton's like,
believe it or not, I followed that.
Yeah, I feel like Peloton's the leader, and everyone's fighting to see who can be a distant number two.
Yeah. Well, they're all talking a lot of trash though. They're acting like they're way better than a distant number two. But
it's because it's all they've got, right?
It's true.
Like
that's what I think.
That's all they've got. Like when it's like politics. When you don't have anything positive, you go negative.
The numbers are too positive. They're doing too much stuff. They got their hands in too much. The content's it's too great. There's too many people. That's why I think it's I think this is a good time to buy.
So yeah, I agree. So you were a little what's the word? Not exactly like at a 10 with your happiness level with Peloton last week.
Right.
But then by the end of the earnings call, you had come back, you felt at ease, and now you're just riding along that line with them. You're just right there.
I'm walking arm in arm like this while the explosions are going on. It's just me and John Foley. We're like doing high fives.
Can you
walking and things are exploding back here?
Could you do one of your videos and make that happen?
We can make that happen.
I want to make that happen.
We gotta do this. Oh yeah, we can do this.
Can Tom and I be in the background? We'll just be like,
that's right. It'll be all four of us
just walking.
That's right. Stuff's exploding. That's what's going on.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how I agree with you, by the way. I think everything's going to be just fine. As we have both said many times long on Peloton, sticking with it, not worried about it at all. It'll be okay.
I'm not worried.
Absolutely.
There's lots to come. The other thing we wanted to chat with you today about is Planet Fitness. You posted about this in your group. And I wanted to hear more. I wanted to hear you verbalize more about this bricks with clicks, because I kept reading it and I'm like, okay, I just need him to explain what he's saying here in words. My eyes were hurting.
So Planet Fitness entered into an agreement with iFit.
Okay.
And they did that was back in April of 2020. The pandemic had hit.
Right.
And Planet Fitness goes, everybody's at home now. We're closing doors. How do we keep our members engaged? We don't have content. So they went to iFit, and iFit helped them out. Now they got all this Planet Fitness content.
Okay.
So that was back in April 2020.
Okay.
Now they've taken it a step forward, and they've invested in iFit. So now they're like a minority investor in iFit. So you could expect there's going to be, a little closer tie. There's probably going to be more that comes from this. And so that was just interesting to me that I saw Icon and iFit and Nordic Track and, their brands, Proform and all that stuff. I saw them as looking at this from a perspective of like Peloton, fitness is going into the home.
Right.
We're on a path to that. People aren't going to be going to the gyms like that anymore. Fitness is, if you don't have to travel, then you're going to do it here.
Right.
I saw them in that same world with Peloton. But when you see this collaboration, it looks like they're kind of aligning with, well, no, there's just going to be this brick and mortar presence, and we're aligning with that in some way. That was the interesting part of it. And then when Planet Fitness makes a clear statement about, yeah, we're going to have a digital presence, and that's why we're having this association with iFit, but it's more like bricks with clicks, meaning it's brick and mortar. You're going to want to go here, but if you need some of that digital content, we got that too. It just seemed backwards to me if you think about connected fitness.
Yeah.
Like from a connected fitness perspective, Peloton's going to say,
it's just clicks.
I would have reversed it.
Yeah.
It's clicks and bricks, right?
Well, I guess they can't though, right? Because they already have all the bricks.
Yeah.
So they gotta add the clicks or they're dicked. Right? Like that's. But for
that is right. That is right.
I mean I think I get the logic, and I think it will work on some level for some people. I think it's a way to pursue. I think it's more of like a bullet point when they're giving you the old hard sell. When somebody's like,
right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I got a Peloton, I could just do it at home. Oh, well, we added this, so you still have that option with our stuff, but you can also come in and lift a weight or hit the pool or whatever. And so, like,
do they even have pools? I don't think they have pools. But that's kind of my point. Because Tom, I think you're totally right. That is what they're doing. But like, a pool is a major sell for a gym, like a major sell. Mm-hmm. If you're a person who, especially if you want to do triathlons, but if you don't have that, then anything else can be done at home. Right. Weights can be done at home, and your cardio can be done at home. So I think what I'm trying to say is I am concerned for their future. I think bricks with clicks is a bad idea. I think that
that's where I was too. Like I was thinking. Well, this is what I actually thought. I thought, okay, I hear their perspective. I hear where they're going with it. Yeah. The dominant is our business.
Right.
Bricks.
Yeah.
and then so that's our world. And bring some clicks along. That'll work. I saw that perspective, but then I thought, well, we know Precor had, I don't know if they still do, but before Peloton purchased them, they had an agreement with Planet Fitness, which sounds like they were supplying them equipment. And now you have Planet Fitness and they have a dependency with iFit as well. And both of those companies are connected fitness with an intent to kind of bring more fitness into the home. I kept thinking, do you want to be dependent on your competitor?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I kind of saw it.
It's starting to get all like this. It's like getting incestuous.
Like if this goes south,
conflated.
Won't both of them, like won't Peloton and iFit go, wait a minute, you're gaining too much market share. Now let's disconnect this relationship. Like, wouldn't they do that?
I mean, I think there's certainly a risk involved, but I look at this as less designed to lure in new people than it is to keep the customer base that's contemplating deflecting to at-home fitness. Like, oh, you know what? For the same price, we'll add this other thing, and why roll the dice? You already like here. If you want to dabble in this at-home stuff, like, here's our version of it. It's already It's already baked in. Like, you know what I mean? Yep. So, like, I mean. Unless they're producing actual viable, interesting content, I don't know that they're going to get much traction. But if the irony is, if they were to invest in producing really good content, I could see people going for it. I could see people that haven't made the choice yet saying, you know what, they have good content and I can still go to a real gym when I want to, but maybe I go to the real gym once a week, but I can still keep up on my exercise plan throughout the week without having to disrupt my schedule to do it. Like I see the appeal to something like that for people, but
good point.
But I think I still feel like short term it's more about keeping people from defecting than it is about luring in new business.
Well, that'll be interesting because I'm hearing a lot more people talk about how they're using iFit, particularly on their treadmills at home, and I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing, I mean, not enough that I'm worried about Peloton or anything, but like compared to where it was 6 months ago, 8 months ago, it's a lot louder. It's a lot more people. So that'll be interesting to see how all these things go forward.
Yeah, this is the interesting one. Yeah, I think that I'll be interested to see if they really do, Icon really does go public. Because, it's tough kind of looking at Peloton and Nautilus as the only kind of true publicly traded entities in this space. I know Lulu's in the space, but I mean, they're more around the apparel. So you don't see the similarities in how they're, moving in the market. And it's not the same, but I can see the similarities when I look at Nautilus and Peloton. So I'm looking for another company to go public. To see Icon go public, I think that'll give us more to kind of compare. I think we'll see more happen with these companies. So I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see what this mix, I think they call it, Beachbody thing, and how that plays out, and how all of this affects Planet Fitness. And that was the core to that post. It's about like what is really happening with Planet Fitness here. Why do they have these connections? Are they trying to save something? Is something not working and they're trying to stay connected to this domain? Is what's really going on there?
It definitely seems like they're trying to be everything to everybody. And
and they're probably also concerned that, like, now that we've had a pandemic, like, what if there's another one in 2 years and people want to leave again? If you can say, well, we've got the at-home stuff, like, you don't have to cancel your gym membership.
That's a really good point.
That's
a good point.
Also, the other version of that sentence isn't, we have at-home stuff, you don't have to cancel your gym membership. The other version of that sentence that the gym might say is, we have at-home stuff, you're not allowed to cancel your gym membership. I mean, because they play hardball with those. They do with those contracts, and so if they add this at-home element, they might look at that and go, no, you still have access to our services, so
so now you can't.
Now you can't go F yourself.
Oh, Tom, I think you might be onto something there.
I'm an evil genius. I'm gonna grow a handlebar mustache just so I can twirl it. Need a top hat and a monocle.
That's right.
Yeah.
And some little minions running around.
Yes. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Until next week, where can people find you?
They can find me in my Run, Lift, and Live group or page on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram, Run, Lift, and Live, or at runliftandlive.com.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist, and, most importantly for our purposes, sports psychology consultant. You may know her from VH1's Couples Therapy with Dr. Jenn or VH1's Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn, her long-running radio show, The Dr. Jenn Show, or her app, No More Diets. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We have another question for you from the Clip Out community. And this one kind of dabbles into our Tonal community too, or the superset community that we have.
That's true.
This is from Jessica Lynn Swift, and she would like to know how to balance her Peloton bike and tread with Tonal, like specifically minute. She's not sure how to like plan out minutes of cycling, running, and weightlifting per day per week, and she's looking for advice.
And, I get this. We have the Tonal, as I've mentioned to you guys. I feel such loyalty to Peloton that I've never actually used our Tonal, whereas Eric uses the Tonal and my dad uses it with him, and they swear by it. And Eric's body looks quite amazing. So I'm sure Tonal's amazing. That
it sucked
said,
me in. That counts for something, right?
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. That definitely counts for something. I think that they should put that on their website. Like that is probably their biggest claim to fame.
If anyone knew who I was, that would probably help.
Yeah. But I do think that finding the balance, and look, in general, finding the balance between cardio, weights, and, I'm going to say it, even though people like to forget about it, stretching, slash yoga, slash foam rolling is really the key to your workout longevity. It's the key to having a balanced workout. It's a key to physical fitness. And we tend to we all have our biases. There's some people who are like, I'm all about the weightlifting. Then there are other people who are like, I'm all about the cardio. I don't know anyone who's like, I'm all about the stretching, but that's so important. And I know for me, if I don't stretch every workout I do, I am hurting the next day.
Really?
So much more. Like my muscles are just way too tight. So I think that the key is really to make a regimen on a weekly basis that has that balance. And if you're not sure what that balance looks like, and typically a lot of trainers talk about alternating, arms and legs and kind of making sure that you work, if you're going to be doing running, that's probably going to be an arm day as opposed to a leg day, or, depending on how you spin, but really finding that balance and working with someone who is a trainer who does understand Peloton and Tonal, and that can help you find that balance, and then making a plan that you can do every week.
Yeah, I think that is the key to it, because it is hard. And, I think that what you said there about finding somebody who's familiar with both is really important, because so many of the Tonal programs, they incorporate arms and legs, especially if you can do a lot of full body workouts. And if you're a person who wants to do the bike and the tread in addition to the weights like myself, it's really hard to find that balance because you're using your legs all the time. So
exactly.
it's just so hard.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, like I do the bike and the tread, that for me, it's very challenging, but I've kind of at the beginning of each year, I kind of sit down with someone who knows, is very familiar with Peloton and helps me come up with a workout plan. And I'll probably this year at like the 6-month point kind of do a reeval, kind of let's refresh this and do something new. But it really is important. And also having those rest days, even if it's an active rest day, like on I have an active rest day. I walk on the tread, I do a walk class, and I do a yoga class. So I keep it really gentle, and I stick to like 20 minutes, 30 max.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because then at least you still feel like you were moving, you get your check mark, but you're not overdoing it. So.
And I also find for me that yoga is one of those things, like I never liked yoga until I took Kristen's 45-minute Billy Joel class. And look, you guys know I am a hardcore Billy Joel fan, and that just hooked me in. I love Kristen's yoga. All of the Peloton instructors are amazing, their yoga classes. But Kristen, I think maybe it's because she's a dancer. I also love her music selection. And I always find that on Sunday, my active rest day, I find myself going like, oh, I don't know if I feel like doing yoga. And then as soon as I start, I always, halfway through, I'm always like, this is exactly what my body wants me to do. Like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it just is so good for you. And as you get older, your balance is not as good, and yoga is so good for that. Your muscles need to be stretched more. And it's really something that I think people forget about. The other thing that I personally love is Hannah Corbin's foam rolling series. If you haven't done it, try it. So her foam rolling glutes is like, I had a really bad chronic hip injury. It is the one thing that really makes a difference for me. That class is amazing. I do it almost every day.
Wow. High praise.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
Very high praise to Hannah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, where can people find you?
You can find me on all social media, especially Instagram at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man. Also, my InStyle magazine column called Hump Day with Dr. Jenn comes out every Wednesday about relationships and sex and all kinds of good stuff.
Ooh, awesome.
That is good stuff.
Thank you.
Your chance to win with the Clip Out.
So our big contest is finally over, and we have a winner.
Congrats to Tania Means.
Yes, she was the big winner. She won the Tonal and all the smart accessories and a year membership.
Yes,
because she was kind enough to donate, buy entries, and donate to the Make-A-Wish of the Greater Bay Area.
And we ended up we gathered up through all of your amazing donations and entries. It was $14,771, I believe.
Something like that. Real close. So real close to 15 grand, which is close. Which is statistically speaking, on average, that's a wish and a half. So well done.
Well done.
They were
indeed.
very surprised that we raised that much. So thank you to you guys.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
Yeah.
And congrats to Tania. And I'm sure we will have more contests coming up soon.
Yeah, and we've got more things up our sleeves. And if you didn't win a Tonal,
and you might be interested in one,
it's not too late to go purchase one. It's never too late to purchase one. It's funny, I know from the past that when the last time we gave away a Tonal, it's like they saw a little bump when the contest was over. People that were like waiting, hoping they won, and then they're like, okay, I'm just going to go buy the damn thing.
Yeah.
So.
We might have another one of those bumps. And if you guys are interested, what you do is you go to tonal.com and enter promo code the clip out, and then you get $100 off of your smart accessories. By the way, how you are almost done with one of the program you're in,
yes,
right?
I'm doing 4 weeks to fat loss.
Yeah, and that is one of the harder ones. It is also
I found out after I signed up for it.
Well, you didn't ask. And then there were people that got to see where I posted over on Instagram. You were doing burpees while I was on the bike.
Yeah.
And that's part of the Tonal programming, because they don't just have you do stuff on the Tonal, they have you do stuff off the Tonal to get your heart rate up, and that's what you were doing. So.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different things, and we've talked in the past about the digital weight, so they just increase it in 1 pound increments, so you don't even realize that they just threw a little bit more weight on there for you.
It's like the kind of trickiness you need to motivate yourself.
Absolutely. So if you want to check it out, again, you go to tonal.com and use promo code TheClipOut.
New content.
So Matty Maggiacomo and Oliva Amato took to Instagram to talk about their new program for beginner strength.
Yeah, so this is brand new for people that have never done strength training. And this Instagram was all about what you can expect in the program, how they made the programming, how they curated all of the classes, what went into it. So it is going to be a 6-week program. It's already out there. It was one of the programs that was released over homecoming, but it was really cool hearing Matty and Olivia kind of go through all of the details of what you can expect from it and the thinking behind all of the classes. Pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Peloton in the news.
So law.com had an interesting article about will Peloton face lawsuits over its treadmill recall. Spoiler, yes.
Actually, if you read the article, what it says is that they think that they did an about face fast enough that they will probably avoid some of the lawsuits that would have happened.
Oh, really?
They are definitely they are facing lawsuits. I mean,
Sure.
that's just a fact. But that if you compare it to what they would have had they continued down the path they were going,
Right.
they're in a much better place, actually, is what this said.
Okay.
I think that this article, like what you just pulled up, doesn't
Right.
really seem to have that much. So I don't know if like this is one of those ones
You
that
had to
like
log in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you get to open it once before it does that. So that's annoying when we try to do this show prep thing that we do. But definitely take the time to go read this, because I thought it was interesting. It kind of pulled apart like the different kinds of lawsuits that they were facing.
Okay.
There's the one for investors. There's the one that's just for
Like the public. Yeah.
exactly. And I've been seeing lots of notifications that those are all expiring. Like those deadlines are coming up for those.
Interesting.
So yes, it will be interesting to see how this all goes down.
And if you want that link, just sign up for our newsletter at theclipout.com and it will get sent to you.
It'll just show up in your inbox.
You can just scroll down to the bottom of the email and click the link. And then Morning Brew had an article about where does Peloton go from here and how will it affect their marketing. And they sat down with some really insightful people to talk about the future of Peloton's marketing. I mean, they were just brilliant observations.
Experts, you might
Yes.
say. We're joking, of course. It was us. It was us.
Yeah.
But you know what? I realized that John Mills, where did that come from? I realized John Foley did say, hey, we're going to become the marketing leader. But like, if you read this article, we added a lot more to that statement. And we gave an example of what they did with the music industry. And we talked through why we think that they're going to be able to pull that off. So we kind of took what John said and kind of
expounded on it.
Exactly. And using past experience.
Right. Like we pointed out that, they were getting sued left and right from different music industry factions, and it was like they went to court, they hammered it out, and now they're the leader, and they sign, they turn around and sign a multi-year deal with Beyonce. Boom.
So I mean, for anybody who's still worried about this whole treadmill thing, it's going to be okay. I really genuinely believe that from the bottom of my heart, not just because I want to, but because I think that Peloton has now taken this on as like, oh, we will crush this.
Right.
And when they put all of their weight behind that. In fact, I forgot to put this in the notes, but just today I saw come up on the job opening board, they're looking for a safety person, a safety specialist. So they're already starting to hire people specifically for this reason. It's going to change everything, how they do it. I just know it.
And while we're going through stories kind of dealing with the fallout of the recall announcement from last week, Freight Waves, which talks about shipping and the supply chain end of things, had an article about the logistical cost of Peloton's recall.
Yeah, and this gets pretty in the weeds.
Yeah.
So just know going in, if you decide to read this article, that like you're going to get deep in the logistics. But they talked about things like the Suez Canal being an issue. Mm-hmm. They talked about the gas shortage being an issue, and then on top of all of that, like the expenses to pick things up, what that's going to look like, and that you can really only make guesses because it's going to depend on how many people actually send their treads back and what that's going to look like. But for what it's worth, the author of this article agreed with my theory that there's not a lot of people that are going to be sending their treadmills back, like in the aggregate. I'm not saying no one's doing it, but when you look at the overall numbers, it's pretty small.
I agree, and I feel like just anecdotally, that's been kind of the prevailing comment from people is they're like, no, I'm keeping it. I'm not worried about it. I feel like I handle it safely, and I'm going to maintain it. I see a lot of people saying that since they have until November of 2022, that they're going to wait to see if they have a new tread, and then they'll return it so they can buy the new one. And to which I say, Peloton's not stupid. If you see a new tread come out, I don't think you're going to see it until 2023.
Agreed.
Like, they're not going to announce a brand new super fancy tread with all new bells and whistles just so you can return the old one. It's not their first day.
No. But I think people are also saying that, like, let's say they not remanufacture because that makes it sound like it's refurbished. But But let's say that they take existing Tread Pluses and they change the manufacturing process so that it adds safety features, not just that rear guard that we're anticipating, but other features as well. I think people are also saying, I will send it back for that. And Peloton really hasn't been clear about what that timeline is like.
Totally. But I still think most people, when push comes to shove, they're not, whatever those improvements are, most people aren't going to think that it's worth it, because you still are going to have to eat your delivery and your taxes and
your extended warranty.
You're going to have to burn another day of PTO so you can wait for the delivery guys to show up. And I doubt they're going to probably pick up and deliver on the same day. So you're going to probably have to do it twice. I think when people say that, but when push comes to shove, it's just going to be too much bullshit for people to deal with. And they're just going to be like, what I have is fine.
I agree. It would have to be some pretty extenuating circumstances for me to want to get rid of my tread. I love my tread. I'm very happy with it. It's like running on air. No one can take it from me.
And then Forbes wrote an article about how people responded on Twitter.
This cracked me up. I was like, dude.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, Forbes. We thought you knew that Twitter was a shit show.
Right?
Like, I didn't.
You might want to pop over the OPP and see what these entitled jerks say over there.
Welcome to the internet.
Right.
I didn't realize it was your first day.
This is why we don't read comments.
Yes.
But basically, the whole article is like, he was just shocked that people were like, well, the treadmill's fine. Peloton shouldn't have to send it. And by the way, I ordered mine and now it's canceled. And this is bullshit. Peloton, give me my treadmill. I know how to use it. I'm a responsible adult.
The rules shouldn't apply to me.
This guy was just shocked at that. He was like, what? Like, why would you be mad at Peloton for doing the right thing? Because so many people don't think it's the right thing, man.
Yeah, they don't care about safety, and bad things will never happen to them. So there don't need to be any precautions taken.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I have mixed feelings about it, because I want to be very clear. The tragedies that have occurred are awful. They are tragic. But at the same time, I still am not convinced that's Peloton's fault, and I don't know that it's any more dangerous than a treadmill. And for the people that say otherwise, I say show me the data. I mean, I would really genuinely like to see that.
We're willing to be convinced.
Yes, absolutely. It's just my mind can be changed.
Right.
It's just, I saw an article today that said that the average, that supposedly 3 deaths occur on a treadmill per year and 32 accidents. I find that very hard to believe.
I think the death number sounds right, but the accident number sounds shockingly low. Like that doesn't make sense to me at all, because people slip and fall on treadmills all the time. Like that's not. I mean, that all you got to do is type in "fail" on YouTube, and 30% of your videos are somebody on a treadmill. So I just
agreed.
And it's not a fault of the treadmill.
No.
It's just
things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, trips and all kinds of stuff happens, and accidents occur, and I hope those families that this occurred to are okay.
Yes.
I mean,
as okay as they can be in the circumstances.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But I am glad that Peloton is just working with CPSC, because we all just need to move forward.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to move forward just yet, because I got another one of these type of articles, and this one's from the Washington Post, all about will buying a Peloton or a trampoline increase your homeowners insurance? So
and it sounded like the answer was yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it theoretically could. I mean, I don't know that most homeowner insurance. I mean, I think your homeowner's insurance will ask if you have a trampoline.
They will.
Ours have never asked if we have a Peloton. So.
No, but I wonder, you can't help but wonder if that day is coming.
Yeah, it very well could be. So,
and not just because of the safety issue, but also because of the expense that like, yeah, it might cover a stationary bike, but it doesn't cover a Peloton $2,000 stationary bike.
I
like
never
it's
even
not
thought
meant
about
for that.
I guess, yeah, if your home burnt down, it would cover it. Yeah, I never thought about it.
Yeah,
so.
It's like, some people have like expensive jewelry and they get a special rider on that. And that's basically what this article was also putting out there. Besides the safety aspect, don't forget that these have a very high value.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just thought about it. Like, we have enough fitness equipment in here that it's worth more than your wedding ring. So
true statement.
So yeah,
maybe we should get a
special rider.
Yeah. A Peloton rider. No, just a fitness equipment rider.
Yes.
I have so many things. We've got the Tonal. We've got the Fight Camp.
It just keeps piling up. And then the Washingtonian had an article about what is the song in the Peloton Rise and Shine commercial.
I guess this is just a thing now.
Yeah.
Like every time they have a commercial, we're going to talk about what is the song.
I guess so. And we know that Peloton drives clicks, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, if you're wondering, it's Stop the Flame by Celeste. She's a British singer-songwriter.
Okay.
And it's not really been heard over in the U.S., so it might be new to U.S. fans. I was not clear where this commercial actually aired. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And then we saw an interesting article this week, not even really sure what to make of this. It's about the fact that the Washington Post appears to have a Peloton account. And so sometimes when people are on their bike,
they randomly
get high fives from the Washington Post, and nobody knows who's behind it.
Which, I mean, am I reading too much into this, or could anybody have made this? Like, any single person on the planet could just make one called Washington Post or WAPO or whatever it says. Like, why do they think it's actually a Washington Post worker?
Well, I guess they also have randomly created a TikTok account, and so I think that the current theory is that it is actually somehow officially the Washington Post, and they don't know if they're using it to keep track of people that are on their bike when they should be on the clock. I don't know, but apparently the Washington Post is out there watching you.
Well, watch away, Washington Post. Watch me work.
Clip out.
So joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Angelo from MetPro. Hello.
Hi.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We have another question from our community, and this one is from Donna Watwood Ecker, who we've heard from before, but she has a different question for you. This time she wants to know if she's not really into cooking, so she wants to know what kind of food prep is involved.
That's a great question, Donna. And let me tell you a secret, but shh, you can't tell anyone this. I'm not a big cook either. People talk to me all the time. It's like, oh, what's your favorite recipe on this and that? I'm like, well, no, I love barbecue. I do. I'll admit that. I love barbecue, but I'm not a big cooker. So I'll give you one of my favorite techniques for someone that doesn't do a lot of cooking is you buy macros in bulk. And you meal prep by macro, not by meal. Otherwise, someone will think, well, I got to make this whole meal. And there's baked chicken and, roasted asparagus and, sweet potato or quinoa, and all these ingredients. And it feels like I got to do this elaborate cook. Like, no, you don't. Just have in your house vegetables. I like fresh vegetables, but you can even get vegetables in a can that are organic if you need be. You could, and make it simple and quick. There is something to be said about brevity and speed when you're on the go. Have that in the house. Have your fats in the house. You don't even think about it. At any given time, my wife and I keep stocked olive oil and avocado, our two favorite fats. I am an avocado fiend. Maybe that's not your thing, but whatever you go for as far as fats, just keep it stocked. So now you don't have to think about that. What does that leave? That just leaves mostly your meal carbs, your slow digesting complex carbs, and your proteins. So you know what we used to do? We'd go to the deli section of any nice grocery store, and we'd get 3 pounds of that and 2 cups of that. And it's in our fridge.
Nice.
Done. Bam. And so meal prep is no longer cooking, it's serving. I'm into serving.
That is my jam. Yes.
and now if you are into cooking and you just want to be efficient, I recommend 2 carbs and 2 proteins. And so there's lots of different approaches. You don't have to use these carbs or these proteins, but if you were to open our fridge at any given time, you'd usually, like right now in our fridge, literally, we have chicken and we have some grilled hamburgers that my wife cooked up in advance, done. Also, we don't have this right now, but usually we'll have a bucket of sweet potatoes that she's baked in advance. And then I'm not a fan of brown rice. She loves brown rice. So we'll often have a big thing of brown rice. And I keep them there done. So that way I have some variety. And when I don't have time, I just go to the fridge, I grab the bulk macro, and I serve. It's that easy. And if I have to run out the door, I put it in my to-go container. I'm out the door. It's done. It's easy. So cook, prep by macro more than by meal.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another trick you could do at the grocery store, if you got a bunch of let's just say you got a bunch of Halloween.
Already.
I know.
But you got a bunch of Halloween costumes left over. This will make your day even easier. You put on like a fake mustache and you're just like, I'd like 6 ounces of turkey. And then you switch your costumes and you go back and be like, I'd like 6 ounces of turkey. And then they do all the prepping for you. You just keep changing costumes and ordering your turkey in 6 ounce increments.
And then it's all ready to go.
And then it's all done for you.
Don't wear a mask. Go in and order 3 pounds of turkey. You can get 6 ounces. I guess that's your thing.
You gotta measure it all out. Making them do the work.
You gotta have sport in it. Yeah, you gotta have sport in it. You're right. I see it your way.
I think it'll be quicker in the long run. No,
I don't. The changing time seems like that's going to take a while, but you.
They're like, why is this guy dressed as Pac-Man want 3 ounces of turkey? I don't understand.
But if you do it, I'm totally going to film it.
Never a dull moment with you two.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, where can people find all of this wonderful information?
Come visit us at metpro.co/TCO for the clip out.
Instructors in the news.
So Emma Lovewell was on NECN.
Do you know what that is?
Of course, it's New England Cable News.
Right.
And not because I looked that up to find out what NECN was. I just, of course, knew off the top of my head.
I mean, with you, it's possible. You knew Baby Shark was in the public domain, so I don't.
I think I'm not 100%, but I think the actual
you
melody
had an
might
opinion.
be.
You had an opinion on it.
Well, anyone can have an opinion if it's wrong. That's not hard to do. And so, but this is where I go to get all my news whenever I'm concerned about a nor'easter. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Emma Lovewell was on there just with 4 ways to stay motivated. So there you go.
All right. Well, if you're having trouble staying motivated, this would be a good news segment for you to watch.
Yeah.
Pretty much just take any Emma Lovewell class. I think that's going to take care of it.
And then Alex Toussaint posted on Instagram, I guess he had a Bike Plus delivered.
He did. Now, remember, he just recently got his first house. He bought his first house. It's been about 5 months ago, something like that. So he finally got to have a Bike Plus delivered at the house. So he is going to be on the leaderboard with us. Mr. Toussaint 25. That is Alex. So if you get a high five, you might want to high five back because it's Alex.
And I think we should all take comfort in the fact that it took him 5 months to get a Peloton.
That's true.
Right? They didn't rush him to the top of the list. Now that delivery times are going back to normal, he's finally getting his. So how about that?
And he was very complimentary of his delivery drivers, and they all took a picture together, and it was posted, and they were all very happy.
And if you're not watching on YouTube and you want to see that picture, go sign up for the newsletter at theclipout.com. And then finally, popsugar had their weekly article. They spun the wheel, and it landed on Robin Arzon this week, and they talked to her about advice for tackling big goals.
Yeah, they went through a few things about her advice that she says, like how to get it on your calendar. And so if you have read her book, Shut Up and Run, you might have read some of these before. Mm-hmm. And they kind of reused some of these things, but also stuff that she has had on her Instagram lately, like using Hyperice, right, for recovery, things like that. But point being, break that stuff down, get it on your calendar. If you need more specifics, that would be a good time to check out our newsletter as well.
Peloton birthdays.
And then coming up on May 16th, it is Matty Maggiacomo's birthday.
Happy birthday, Matty. You are a special guy, and we are super proud to know you. He said he was going to be 36 this year.
How about that?
Awesome.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
So joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Karen Reddy. Hey, Karen, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi.
Great.
So,
thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here.
It's very scenic. Have we had someone do one of these outdoors yet?
I don't know if we have.
Here you are on lovely Long Beach Island.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The LBC. I'm going to have Sublime stuck in my head.
So, when did you hear about Peloton? Like, how did you find it in the world?
My husband had a spin bike, and he didn't use it very often at that point. But our neighbor here at the beach said, "Hey, have you heard about this? You can do it on the app. You don't have to have the bike. You can use the app." And at that point, I think it was like, $12.99 a month. And he went home in September after that summer and started every day, lost a bunch of weight. And I was a little jealous at that point. I was then a third grade teacher. I taught 30 years in the Arlington County Public School System just outside Washington, D.C. And I found out that November that I had to have surgery. And I knew that recovery from the surgery would be a whole lot better if I were to drop, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. So one day I said to him, "Can I just try it? Can I try it?" And he said, yeah, you can. So I got on with my sneakers on his spinning bike and, got on there and survived my first class and came back for a few more and ended up finding Jenn Sherman. And she's about my age. I knew the music she played. I was inspired. I got to the point where I got up every morning at 5 before I went to school and got my workout in and knew that I had accomplished something for the day that I wouldn't have done before that. I had tried different, Pilates classes and things like that and never really stuck with anything, never found anything that inspired me.
That kept you going
to stick with it. Yeah.
And so then at that point, your husband was like, "You owe me $650 a month."
Well, where are we in the timeline though? Like how far back was this?
So that was November 2017 is when I first started.
Okay.
My surgery was the following January, and I ended up losing 30 pounds before my surgery in January.
Wow.
Nice.
And recovery went a whole lot better than I expected. And, it took a while to get back on the bike after that, but I did. And I celebrated my 100th ride, I guess that March.
That's awesome.
So you lost 30 pounds before you did 100 rides?
Yes.
Well,
it's like 3 pounds a ride.
I
haven't kept all of it off.
Well, I was going to say
I'd like to say I got stronger.
Sure.
Maybe not skinnier, but stronger.
Yeah, well, of course. And was some of that like, were you trying to diet as well, or?
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely,
so it wasn't just the bike because that's
no,
really
it wasn't
fast
just the bike.
to lose that much
weight.
weight.
It was a combination, but it was, I was inspired when I got to the point where I was like, "Oh, my pants are big. I get to buy small pants."
That is for sure. Good. That's a great feeling. Yes.
The best is when you get to buy a new belt.
Yeah.
Like going that direction.
Well, I don't wear belts anymore, so I'm not sure that's going to be something I'll need for very long.
Okay, but so we're in 2018 now. Now, at some point, you transitioned to a Peloton bike. Tell us how that happened.
But not at that. It was 2.5 years, over 2.5 years. And probably 1,250 rides before we actually got our bike.
Wow.
My husband and I were watching an NFL playoff game or something, and I said something to him about buying a bike. And he said, yeah, but we go back and forth to the beach. It would be difficult to transport it. And, you wouldn't want to leave it at home in Virginia for the entire summer if you were at the beach. And, how would we do that? And so I got on the JSS Tribe Facebook page. I said, okay, guys, help me out. My husband thinks it's going to be too difficult to transport this bike. Please convince him otherwise. And they came back like rapid fire. No. I move mine all the time. It's easy. You can do it. So we gave in. My husband gave in, and we ended up getting our first bike in January 2020.
Wow. Just before the pandemic.
So
just before things hit. We actually had a 6-week camping and cross-country road trip planned before the pandemic. And we got about a week into that before everything changed.
Yeah.
But having that bike at home was a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I
Definitely
bet that was a huge difference during the pandemic I guess you had a bike either way, so you would have been fine, but it's nice to have the actual thing.
I'm fine. Right. But when I first started on the app, you had to scroll and scroll and scroll to high five anybody, and then they could never see you. And so
now you can,
I like being able to join in.
Yeah. Now you can high five with abandon.
Exactly.
So did you get a did you get a bike plus? Did you get a bike? Did you get one?
We did. We brought the bike to the beach house and decided, okay, now we're just going to leave that one here. And we bought the bike plus for our Virginia house. I timed that for delivery on my husband's birthday.
Nice.
So it was a gift for him.
Well, he rides it too.
So you went
he actually tried to jump the Sunday Jenn Sherman ride on me the other day, and I said, "Oh, I don't think so."
Oh yeah, no.
Like, go to the other house and do that.
Yeah, it's just a short drive to the beach. Yeah. Just kidding.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny. So you went from having one bike, a spin bike, to then trading up to a Peloton bike, and now you have a Peloton and a bike plus. Okay.
So now I guess you probably know the answer to this, but I don't. How do they handle that with the memberships? Do you have to carry 2 memberships, or can you have one for both?
So when we use our bike here at the beach, it bricks the bike at home.
Okay.
And then we signed back into that one, and Brick's the one here.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as you don't have them try to use them at the same time. You're
We're
fine.
not using it at the same time. Yeah.
Right.
That seems fair, I guess.
Yeah. It's the only time you have to pay 2 memberships is when
If you're using them
simultaneously.
at the same time.
Exactly. So if you have bikes and you have 2 bikes and you want to ride at the same time, then you have to pay 2 memberships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly. Okay. So, what was your fitness level like before Peloton? Like, what were you working out at all? Were you not working out?
Well, I had my Fitbit and tried to get my 10,000 steps in, and thinking that, oh, I'm a teacher. I'm constantly active. Third graders keep you moving all the time. Yeah, no.
Kids are lazy now.
They do keep you moving. Yes, they do. That's true. But my fitness level was horrible, and it wasn't something that I prioritized at all. Didn't find joy in any exercise that I had tried. So therefore, I didn't continue.
I mean, like you said earlier, Peloton just really changes that. I mean, it really, for me, I had the same experience you did, where it's like nothing really held my interest, engaged me in the same way. What do you think it is about Peloton that engages you to keep going, keep coming back to the bike?
For me, a big part of it is the music. I know that there are certain rides that I'll do that I know the music and I'll be singing the words. And I know when I found Jenn's epic sing-alongs, for example, that I'd be, I might have had my AirPods in or something, but I'd be, singing out loud. So that really helps. And then after I joined the JSS tribe and got to know virtually some of the people, I actually got to meet some people here on Long Beach Island.
That's cool.
So that was really cool. Went to hang out on the beach with some, met some for a drink. And then last summer I had some stop by as well.
That's awesome.
I've had Peloton in the wild.
Well, that's the best.
Yes. So it says here that you have been making masks for people. Like
I have
a crap ton.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the official. That's the official.
It's actually, I'm consulting my notes. It's a metric crap ton.
If you had told me a year ago, I wouldn't have believed you.
I mean, just so people get an idea of what Tom means by a metric crap ton. I know that you're way over 17,000 at this point. What is the exact number at this point?
It's like 17,946, I think.
Good Lord.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
You're the Laura Pug of masks.
So I actually, this is the first one I ever made.
Oh, wow.
And I when I first started sewing, which was just the October before the pandemic hit, I was sewing things like baby quilts and items for our camping trip. I made, nylon utility bags to put our laundry in and our gear and things like that. And tent runners for the floor, so the floor wasn't so cold. So I got on YouTube. A friend of mine said, I hear that nurses need these because they're slathering their masks with hand sanitizer between shifts.
Yeah.
I thought, oh God, that's disgusting. Like, why would you want, and so I had some fabric and I pulled it out, and this was the very first one. So at that point I didn't have any elastic. I had to make all the ties and that sort of thing. And I figured, okay, well, this covers your face. It's going to give you some protection. So this is what I first started with. And then people sent me elastic. They sent me fabric. They sent me stamps to send out more. And I started sending out to people who I knew were nurses and doctors. And then I get a message saying, hey, my niece is a nurse. Can you send her some? Sure, I'll send her some. And can you send some to my son who's a doctor in New York? Yes. And so tribe members helped me find places to send them, contacts, and that sort of thing. And that's where it started, and it just ballooned from there.
Holy cow.
I started to find fun fabrics. So in the summertime, I had flip-flops and beach umbrellas and sailboats and crabs and things like that, and bicycles. That was a fun one. and I made them for all sorts of holidays. So Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, Christmas, Hanukkah, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Whatever I could find the fabric for. And then I even had some spin bike fabric. It was fun.
So how long does it take you to make a mask? 17,000 seems like that, almost 18,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do it in steps. So I would, one step would be to cut the fabric. The next step is to sew the two pieces together. And then the third step is to invert the fabric. A lot of ironing, especially if I'm doing the pleated ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much time I've spent at the ironing board in the last year. Went through a couple of ironing board covers because I burned them out.
I didn't even know.
The irons are still working. But
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was possible to burn an iron cover.
It shows you how wrinkled our clothes are around here.
Exactly.
I didn't use mine much before either. When you spend most of the day at the ironing board, yes, that will happen. So I could probably make, if I'm working full on in a day, I can make about 200, but that's kind of morning to night constant working.
Whoa.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And there are days that I'll work on it full time, and days I'm retired, so I can do that. And there are days that I have little helpers. My 3.5-year-old granddaughter and my 2-year-old grandson like to sit and push the button that cuts the threads. So when they're my helpers, we don't get as many done on those days. But they do like to sew masks, as they call them.
Masks. So are people still sending you ideas for people to send them to? Or is that still happening? Because gosh, COVID has just changed so much, so dramatically, and I feel like we're in a new phase of it right now. So is that still occurring?
It still occurs there lately. Schools in the Washington D.C. area, in the Northern Virginia area, have just reopened for hybrid learning. So at the school where two of the schools where I used to teach, and the school system that my children went through, I've been supplying them with masks. So if a kid comes to school and their mask gets dirty or gets broken and they can't wear it or something like that, then there's a basket they can choose from. And the teachers, I've been told that these two schools, the teachers are walking around. So they say, it's like you haven't left. Because, we see your masks in all over the building.
Wow. Did I see correctly on Facebook? I saw a post that you actually got a little medal in the, somebody sent. So what was that about? Tell us about that.
A friend of mine, her husband is actually the ambassador to Serbia. Sent me the medal, and it says, "This machine fought COVID-19." And so I now have that medallion on the front of my sewing machine.
That is so cool.
That's really cool.
As a way to commemorate it. Yeah. And I've saved all the scraps of fabric. Someday when I'm not sewing masks, I'll make a scrappy quilt or 2 or 3 or 9 because I have so much to work with.
You can make quiltses.
Quiltses out of all the scrapses.
Oh, goodness. Were you going to ask something else about the masks, Tom?
Oh, I was just thinking that for the schools, they should have 2 baskets of masks.
Why 2?
The one should be if the mask breaks, the kid can pick from that one. The other one, if the kid forgets the mask, then he has to pick from embarrassing masks.
Oh, right? Fun prints.
There should be one, maybe one which has got a giant piece of poop on it. Like a picture of a piece of poop. Don't actually put poop on the mask.
Those I haven't made. I am a little discerning about my fabric choice.
But that's what I'm saying. That's to encourage the kids.
I like it to be fun, but not. We're not going there.
This is the plan, to encourage the kids to bring a mask, to bring their own mask to school. If they forget their masks, right, they have to wear something embarrassing.
I don't know.
Wow.
I wouldn't want to look at a poop emoji mask. That's for sure.
How many hours do you think you've spent on this in the last year? Because it seems like a full-time job.
Oh.
I mean, that
Well, It could have been. It was at the beginning. I feel like it gave me a really good outlet. I mean, I couldn't stay on the bike all day. I didn't have the energy to do that. It gave me something to keep my mind and my hands focused, so I wasn't eating constantly, which I probably would have done with, watching the news. And so it's kind of guided most of my days, but that's been good because my husband and I were pretty much locked down. Our oldest daughter was pregnant with her third child, and we weren't taking any chances. So we didn't really go anywhere. We weren't really doing anything. So I kept myself busy with something that I thought might help people.
Well, it's awesome, but I just did a little bit of quick math because 18,000 masks, 18,000 divided by 12. So, because it's been roughly a year, right? So that means approximately 1,500 masks a month. Oh
my gosh.
Okay. And then let's divide that out by 4 weeks a month. That means that each week you are creating 375 masks.
Probably.
And so then divide that by 7. That means on average, you made 54 masks a day.
And that sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Your next surgery is going to be for carpal tunnel.
I'm hoping for no more surgeries.
Right. That is the hope. No surgeries. But that is incredible. I mean, it really is. I understand that you didn't have a lot to do and you wanted to keep yourself busy. But that is above and beyond. Wow. Just wow. That's incredible. Congratulations to you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Especially because it's so much has transpired in the last year. I do think on some levels, like, we've kind of forgotten how hard it was to find masks at the beginning.
I know. It's just been so crazy.
It was a mad scramble to try and find any sort of face covering.
Especially on the East Coast. So, yeah. Wow.
The really cool thing was, too, that I got to see them in all sorts of different places. A friend of mine is an anchor on MSNBC, and she has a house here at the beach. And I tutor her kids in the summertime. So she wore some of them when she was on air.
How cool.
I see pictures on Facebook of, I saw people going to vote wearing my mask.
Nice.
One was picture was in the newspaper of someone wearing the mask. And then going to get their vaccinations. People have posted wearing the masks. So that's been really cool.
How awesome. You need to make like a scrapbook of all those pictures and things like that so that you never forget.
I've been saving the pictures and I want to make some sort of a collage or something.
Totally.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
That is cool.
So kind of getting back to Peloton then. So would you say that you have a favorite instructor? I don't want to put any words in your mouth.
Oh, no, absolutely. There's a go-to. There's a go-to if I haven't mentioned Jenn Sherman enough. She actually, I sent her some and she wore some and posted on her Instagram account too.
Oh, wow. And and so does that imply that the JSS tribe is your favorite Facebook tribe?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You should have made Jenn Sherman a Bruce Springsteen mask.
Oh, that would be so funny.
Ooh.
She's like,
she's got to put that down.
Well, I also have some Grateful Dead ones.
Oh, awesome.
And I know she's talking about a Grateful Dead 2 ride or, another, she could do that too.
Yeah, you never know.
She was talking today about going to a Grateful Dead concert. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think at this point, any of us would settle for any live music at this point. I mean, it really wouldn't have to be a big band, just anything.
That's true. I was thinking, like, yes, even the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, I know. We're not big Grateful Dead fans.
I love me some classic rock, but the Grateful Dead is like, oof.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't care for them, but I love.
I would like to go back and see a Pink show though, because
if
you've ever seen one where she's flying through the air, and the.
It is phenomenal.
That's amazing.
Phenomenal. Yeah. She puts on such a good show.
Yeah, like if you ever get a chance to go, just to people listening, like you should absolutely go. Even if you're like, I don't really care for the music.
Doesn't matter.
The stage production is like Broadway level. Like it's like a Cirque du Soleil show. It's amazing.
And the vibe of the crowd.
Yes.
Every age level, every stripe of the rainbow, every anything. goes.
Yes.
And it's just always very positive and
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We ended up going the last time, and the guy who sat next to me was so large that he was physically in my seat area. So my husband went up to customer service and they gave us tickets, which happened to be down on the floor in like the 11th row.
Nice.
So we were right there.
Wow.
It was
Yeah, a lot of people don't
awesome.
realize that as someone who works in the concert industry. Like if you find yourself in a situation like that, a lot of times, like the buildings typically have holds, like seats on hold for situations like that, or if you're next to somebody who's really rude. Unless you go to the BOK Center in Tulsa,
And then they won't let you move.
because they're douchebags
They
and
are.
they don't have those, and they
Yeah.
treat you like shit. But normal venues that aren't the BOK Center in Tulsa don't do that. They have seats set aside in case something like that occurs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We had a very bad experience at BOK. if
in
you
case you
can't
couldn't tell.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
Billy Joel, right?
It was Billy Joel.
Yeah.
And not a fan of the BOK Center.
No.
Yeah.
No. When we drove all the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, back to your thing. Okay. So what about your leaderboard name? How did you come up with it? Or what is it, first of all? And how did you come up with it?
So my leaderboard name is LBI Girl. It happens to be the same as my license plate. I had the license plate first. I grew up here on Long Beach Island. Went to school, and we lived year round on the island, 2nd through 4th grade. And my husband and I bought a house here in 2009. My parents have a house, but being one of 7 children, I only got 1 week a year. And 1 week at the beach is not enough. So I needed more. And I was a school teacher, so I had the entire summer off. And so we looked for 2 years, finally found the house in 2009. Then Superstorm Sandy hit, and in 2012, and we spent a couple years redoing the house. Most of the work we did ourselves. I got really good at pulling wire and, wiring light switches and things like that. And my husband and I did all that electrical work on our own.
Wow.
We had somebody else do the major part of the build, but we did a lot of hands-on.
That's
So it took
incredible.
probably 5 years total to get to a situation where we thought we were quote unquote done. But now we have different projects that we work on, a garden in the back, and
Wow. That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
I'm really tired these days. So like every time I think of this like massive amount of work, I'm just like, I can't really put myself in that place. It stresses me.
well, I worked 5 days a week with 3rd graders, and then we drove up here on the weekends to do all this for 5 years.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That does not sound delightful. I'm sure the end result is delightful and worth it.
My grandmother used to say, "You do the best you can with what you've got."
That's
And
true.
So that's what we did.
And I'm sure it was totally worth it. Like you're
Absolutely.
loving your spot now.
Yeah.
And that's great. Yeah.
But
And now we can come spend as much time here as we'd like.
Which is
and make masks.
and make masks.
And well, yes.
But hopefully not for much longer. Like the end is nigh.
Let's hope.
I get my 2nd dose of the vaccine May 1st. So I'm hoping for a more normalized summer. We live just down the street from the small yacht club. It sounds very she, the yacht club. It's basically a clubhouse with some docks. We've got a crabbing boat and then another boat that we can go out on the bay. So we'll
Nice.
do that this summer. No water skiing this year for me after my shoulder surgery. So
Gotta
we'll have
pace
to
yourself.
find other things to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we need to keep that shoulder in shape for you to do your other sewing and stuff too. So
Well, when I had the surgery, I had this huge bandage on it, and my husband actually put some artwork on it. He drew the Peloton symbol and wrote my leaderboard name on the side. So,
that's awesome.
so not only does my clothing say Peloton, but so did my bandage.
Nice. So, do you have any advice for people who are just now getting their bikes?
I'd say yes, consistency is key. I think in order to make something a habit, you have to work to make it a habit at first. In the AA program, they say, fake it till you make it. And that was the approach that I took with the bike. I was going to stay consistent and give it a chance to have an impact on me. I found classes with music that I liked. I found the intensity that I could do. And then I got involved with the tribe, which I knew that there was some accountability there. People would say, like, I'll see you in the morning. And so, I knew if I didn't show up in the morning that they'd be like, where are you? I've just, for me, over this past year where social stuff has been so difficult, I've actually been connected to so many people who ride Peloton. So, them saying like, which ride are you going to do tomorrow? Has been a good thing for me. Find a buddy who will help keep you accountable if you're new. Start off with the shorter classes. This year, I jumped into the Power Zone Challenge this spring, which I have never done before. And if you take chances, you might surprise yourself.
Very true. Very true.
That is true.
All great advice. I love it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we go, where can people find you if you would like to be found?
I am on Facebook, Karen Allen Reddy, and I am on Instagram as Mrs. Reddy 3, a remnant of my teaching days.
Oh, I just thought your husband was just tearing through wives.
Well, I am the second one, and he used to call his work wife his third wife.
It's all coming together.
She handed him divorce papers when he retired.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Well, I feel like you should be Mrs. Reddy too, then.
Yeah.
Well, that is awesome.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much, Karen. And
Thank you so much for having me.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next time, where can people find you?
people can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, the bike, and of course the tread at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget to find us on YouTube, where you can subscribe to the show and watch everything you're hearing. That'll be fun, right? Theoretically. So anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling.
And running.